one of the most substantial and significant shifts we can make, and indeed one that makes the most powerful impact on our capacity to create a purposeful and fulfilling life, is realizing that we co create our reality. The way we interpret the world, the way we interpret ourselves, the way that we interpret other people is very much based on past experience and conditioning. And we make predictions for the future. We have expectations for other people based on the stories that we have in our minds. And they're not always beneficial, nor are they always very kind. And it's about recognizing that if you're going to create a story, it may as well be a nice one. Because ultimately, so many of us go through our day filled with judgment and bitterness and insecurities and paranoia and negative comparison, none of which is a nice place to actually live. And yet, so much of it is based on emotional reactions that we're not even aware of, fear and insecurities and threats to our ego that are bringing up something from our past and that are making our current reality a very difficult place to be in. And we tend to kind of paint other people as our enemy as opposed to seeing everyone as a potential friend, and trying to see the good in others, trying to see the potential in others, and trying to recognize the fact that they have their own pain and insecurities. And forgiveness is a concept that I've struggled with quite significantly. I mean, it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to put it into action on a consistent basis. And it's something that you have to come back to again and again. And I suppose I always had this paradigm of forgiveness where if you just manage to put it in place for a person once, that'd be it, you'd never have to do it again. And yet I have found the reality of living it so very different. There's been times that I've felt that I have released something and let it go, but it has come back to bite me in the ass over and over again. And it's recognizing that that's normal, and that working on compassion and forgiveness is an ongoing process. It's not something we just eradicate overnight, because ultimately our capacity to hold grudges, our capacity to be judgmental, looking after our ego, they all have a survival function. They all kind of helped us stay alive at some stage. They were a coping mechanism and indeed an evolutionary mechanism, but they don't serve us in the long term, because when we're going around the place bitter and angry, it just eats us up. It consumes so much of our energy, and it just leaves us drained, exhausted, and feeling hateful against ourselves more than anyone else. I mean, nobody else really suffers when we're angry. It's just us. We're carrying this horrible sensation around inside ourselves. But that being said, compassion and forgiveness isn't easy. It doesn't come that naturally. Well, at least it doesn't to me. I have to work goddamn hard at getting my head out of my own ass and recognizing that not everything that everybody else does is about me. It's not personal. And that me taking it so personally is on me. And I need to be able to regulate that. And I need to recognize when I'm emotionally reacting to very benign circumstances based on my past. And again, the more discerning we are with our emotions, the more we're able to recognize them and honor them, but also be able to regulate them and recognize what's appropriate and what's not, the better off we're going to be, because ultimately all of our feelings have validity, and we're designed to nourish them and nurture them, and we have to learn to do that. However, what we do need to be able to do is challenge the thoughts that go with them. We have to be able to tap into the story that we have created as a consequence of the intense emotion, and ask ourselves, is this the kindest way I can go through my day? Do I want to create a story that is hurtful towards me and hurtful towards other people? Or would it be a nicer world for everybody involved if I could try and see the benevolent side of someone, and if I could also try and see the potential suffering that they're undergoing? And that's not always easy, because some people are just assholes, and they just do things that really hurt. But us going around hating them doesn't help us. And it's about trying to let things be, recognizing that being angry with a person doesn't change them. And indeed, all it does is, as I said, consume you. And it's trying to just coexist with how you feel: disappointment, hurt, anger, rejection. But recognize that you can tell yourself a kind story, that you can say something reassuring to yourself, that you can maybe come up with some sort of scenario that helps you see things in a less punitive light. I mean, even if somebody has hurt you, you can create a kind story where you see their suffering and you see their actions and behaviors done from a place of pain as opposed from a place of spite. And again, when we make these little subtle changes in the stories that we tell ourselves, our world becomes a more habitable place. It becomes a kinder place to be, and consequently we have the capacity to be more compassionate and kind to everyone we come across. It's not that we have to approve of everybody, it's not that we have to be everybody's best friends. I mean, sometimes it's not that we even have to talk or have any connection with a person, but it's just that we aren't consumed with hating somebody, that we aren't consumed with carrying a sense of self-righteousness, a sense of revenge, and a sense of anger all of the time. It's just being able to let it be and recognize that you're doing your best, they're doing their best, and unfortunately you just weren't able to meet in the middle. And not everybody in life is going to be able to meet your needs, not everybody will reach your expectations, and this isn't necessarily a reflection on them, nor is it a reflection on how they feel about you. And the less personally we can take things, the more healthy we are going to feel. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'll talk to you again soon.